Hey folks, this is Bardic Dragoon. Welcome back to Let's Play Grandia 2 Anniversary Edition. So when we last left off, we had learned some interesting revelations about Elena and Millennia. And after that, decided to grab the means to continue on our quest after clearing out a cave of monsters. Of course, before we leave, always a good idea to grab a quick bite to eat. Or spend the night, I suppose, is another way to put it. As I'm sure Elena has some interesting things to say here. And those aren't what I was expecting her to say. Oh, that got awkward quick. I guess he's cool with it. Though now it's centered on the subject of the mother here. Like, what do you mean? Well, how did it remind you of someone you probably you had said a long time ago, not necessarily that it was young, but it doesn't seem that old now, so a long time ago it seems like you shouldn't remember. Yeah. So basically his mom was a nice person and okay. Imagine his mom to be a nice person. Okay, fine, that makes sense, I guess. Whatever. Could be worse times to think of a person as a little brother. Just saying. I don't understand Ryota's interjections in conversations sometimes. They don't make a lot of sense sometimes. Yeah, that's actually a very level-headed statement. When Millennia hugged him. That kind of hug reminds you of your mom. You might have issues. I'm just throwing that out there. So many questions about Rowan right now. Nope, yeah. Skipping you. Okay, we already read that. I mean, okay, Millennia herself, I suppose, didn't do it. Well, I don't know, is Millennia, like... That's a good question. Is Millennia, like, a part of Elena, or... I mean, they're the same person, but is, like, that the Wings of Valmar given form, or, like, the Wings of Valmar interpreted through Elena, or... I mean, can you really say Millennia did anything bad, or just, like, being part of, basically... the devil, it seems like, that she's kind of inherently... This is getting into philosophical and psychological questions I don't think I really have the means to deal with here. Oh well, that conversation and heavy talk out of the way, now we can actually continue on our adventure. And, well, actually, I suppose that'll just take me to the world map, and from there I could probably go to the next place anyway, but... I don't know, since we open up this exit, I think we might want to head this way. Wait, that's a guard's tent. Yeah. That looks like guards. Is there another building in this town? Did I not realize? I feel kind of stupid now. Oh. And it looks like... Yeah, it's a shop. We missed out on the shop. Well, that's awesome. Anything worth buying, though? Might be something in the equipment here, but I don't want to blow money on equipment that isn't really going to be that beneficial. I probably should check my stats here. Yeah, I don't care. I know how to use. I was explaining how to use skill points the other video. I think I was explaining skill buffs the other video. I don't remember. I don't know. Let's see, 18 attack we have on that. 22 on that one. Other than, again, they probably better their base attack stats. I don't know. seemed like that would be beneficial. Oh! I guess compare stats in the... I feel stupid now. Alright, well, let's see. That there... 14. Yeah, that seems worth it. 18. Yeah. Actually, no, that would have been 18. Either way, not worth it. And... 2 points, definitely not worth it now. And... leather armor. Actually... chainmail. Let's try what's the leather armor? The clothes silk is better than them. I don't know. Yeah, leather armor. Okay. Yeah. 4 points. 6 points. Yeah, really not worth it. That's gonna be the biggest boost I'm gonna see. Traveler's hat. What's that do? 4 points. No, still not worth it. Bandana. 6 points. No. Climbing shoes. Yeah, we do want to give those. Boost the movement. It's a worthwhile one. Alright, let's get out of here. I think we've futzed around for enough now. I mean, what, we're at... no, we're only 6 minutes in. Okay, so, let's head out now to adventure! On the South Silesia, that's, yeah, interesting name. And anyway, to our new destination, the Baked Plains. I mean, that was cool when it was the rocks, or not the rock, when it was the mushroom, but now he's cutting rocks in half. That is a really powerful sword. Actually, just kind of ridiculous what it is. By the way, I don't know if we experienced them before, off the top of my head, but yes, environmental hazards are a thing that exist. And you don't want to get into those too often. Alright. So, time for some battle. And, okay. We had a 3-person party before, but now we've got a 3-person party where I have to equip those on mana again. Okay, that's not good. Not having a mana egg could be a bit detrimental here. I'm sure we'll figure something out. By having her attack. Okay, that's probably not a good plan, actually. Especially because, yeah, if we had magic, we could just nuke these enemies with area of effect that... okay, we go to try to give him the stat buffing and healing and all that again. And I'm sure that... What are you aiming for, Melina? What are you aiming for, Elena? Oh, that didn't do much damage, did it? Also, I really need to remember that Elena's critical is not very good. Really need to remember that. I mean, her combo isn't very good either, but it's kind of all we have right now. So let's go for that. Yeah, attack that. The magic didn't seem to do much damage here. I guess I'll stick to physical attacks, because... dang, if Ryoto's attack didn't do a lot more damage than that spell did. I guess insects are naturally magic resistant, I don't know. Yeah. Why are you ganging up on the little kid? Why are you doing that? Yeah, whatever. Alright, so attack, yeah. I just keep up the attacks. Okay, yeah, I might as well say this now, because there's not much to talk about here.
You okay?
But just a heads up, for this video and the next couple of ones, yeah, commentary might sound a little bit off, just because of the fact that I'm actually recording it after the fact, because apparently I'm an idiot, and set my mic wrong when I was recording these, and honestly I don't feel like going back and recording them. Not so much for this episode, this episode, largely just a lot of this random stuff happening and battles and stuff. Not bad, but not, annoying to record. It's more so probably the last video I've set here that's I goofed on. Anyway. So yeah, a lot of my muttering to myself that strategizing there is not going to be there because I don't remember what I was thinking half the time here. I don't remember what I'm thinking 5 minutes ago half the time. Probably not a good thing. Well, anyway, let's just spam normal attacks here. That's a perfectly viable strategy. Actually, it's a surprisingly viable strategy. I mean, I'm playing this on hard mode, but well, yeah. And does anybody have to attack him? Nah, I guess so. Okay. Now that worked in my favor. Apparently.
Gotta work even harder.
By the way, I've decided to keep the dialogue on English for the moment. I don't know why. I still can't decide which I like better, to be completely honest. And also, I mentioned skill books earlier? Or did I? Oh no, okay, I'm equipping the mana eggs right now. And yeah. Thinking about what things mean here, and also forgetting how to remove equipment for a moment. But yeah, there's kind of a reason I decided to give the dark egg to little kid. Oh wait, I'm doing great. I can't even remember the kid's name. Bowen. Yeah, that's it. I just remembered it, and I wasn't totally just looking at the screen. But yeah, it's kind of a non-existent plot reason, admittedly, that doesn't come up for a very long time. But it kind of makes a certain amount of sense. Not that it really matters. I mean, I have 3 mana eggs, I have 3 party members, just run with it. And I think at this point where I noticed that I forgot to spend... Yeah. Because I realized I didn't use my skill book, because I'm not all that bright. But we already covered that one. So yeah, that's how you use a skill book. It's pretty similar to a mana egg, except that the things that you unlock are passive bonuses. And yeah, I can't learn any spells from mana eggs yet, because the mana eggs, the way they actually work, you'll notice that it has a level there. Every time I learn or level up a spell on the mana egg, it actually increases the level of the egg. At certain levels, new spells are unlocked on the egg. And I think... Oh yeah. Nice to meet you buying skills. Some interesting stuff here. Mostly buying this thing. Nightmare Ball. Probably one of her more useful special abilities. Basically what it does is it is a area of effect ability that damages the enemies and inflicts sleep. I don't think there's another ability in the game that isn't even remotely close to doing that. So yeah, that's a pretty cool ability on that one. And yeah, now we're just boosting spells to... Yeah, there we go, unlock new spells that I then don't have the mana coins to actually purchase, so, you know, that's great. Whatever. And yeah, the base plains here of the dungeon is kind of just a generic, regular, everyday dungeon. There's not much interesting to it. You know, it's an open, or mostly open area. There's no real puzzle, no real direction. You just kind of wander through it. There's a handful of things out here in this place. The main thing to do is to pick up the various, I forget if I refer to them as seeds or nuts in this one. We picked up one earlier. I just don't remember what it was called. But those are actually permanent stat boosting items. I'm not going to be using them for a while for reasons that... How to talk about them without giving too much away. And I suppose the easiest way to talk about it is just to say, if you... Actually, I can't even really say if you play the Grandia games, you know, any of the Grandia games, you know what to expect, because really they didn't do it in Grandia 3 or Grandia Extreme, with only these first 2. Yeah, whatever. There's a reason I'm not using the stat boosting...
Stuff of nightmares.
Oh! it still surprises me that the Steam achievements actually show up in the recording for some reason. I don't know why. Like, I always thought that was something through the Steam interface, and actually I'm curious if I open the Steam interface in the game, does it record that, or does it just keep recording this game? Like, I don't know. Either way, well, we didn't earn an achievement. That's one of those, just reminding you you're working towards an achievement in, killing things. I think there's like there's 2 achievements. One for like killing 1,000 enemies over the course of all your playthroughs, and one is for killing 2,000 enemies. I actually don't know if we're gonna get that one, or either. Definitely not the 2,000 one, I'm pretty sure, but the 1,000 one we might get. I'm not 100% sure. The thing is, I'm not really going out of my way to get into a lot of fights and the just random encounters, because though they can be kind of interesting, and yes, it occurred to me just now, I had, used the skill book and unlocked the skills. I did not equip any of them. But maybe this first skill book is kind of meh. It's just basic stat boost, which, they can be useful, but it's, like, at this point it's 10-point bonuses. By the time, we get to later, like, you level them up, you can get up to a 50-point bonus. But by the time you have enough skill points to level up all those, even the 50 points is okay, I guess. I honestly don't remember what, like, the stat total and cap for characters are in this game. It's not one of those things I tend to do a lot of thought to memorize, because, I like numbers, I like math, I like RPGs, but I don't feel that's worth the effort. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Better to understand the formula and the variables, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the shopping earlier. Other than my stupidity in forgetting that when you select the item, it actually gives you the equip option where you can actually see the stat adjustments and all of that. But as far as the decision on what to buy and what not to buy, it's actually something that I've started doing in RPGs recently. Is kind of just looking at, is the stat or the stat bonus worth it? Rather than blowing all your money on just the best equipment, even if the best equipment is only a mark is. Because really a lot of RPGs tend to do this thing where you get new equipment, the new equipment is only marginally better than the old equipment. That's kind of like, is the bonus worth the cost? Especially if you don't want to grind, which especially for, according to playthrough an RPG, you're arguably already in kind of rough territory on, is this going to be interesting or not? And, you don't want to do any grinding, and especially this game really isn't conducive to grinding. It's a very straightforward, you go from point A to point B, you do things. It doesn't really have that kind of, meandering portion of the story, where it's where you're kind of wandering on the world map from point A to point B with random encounters. It doesn't have anything like that really gives you that good grinding, that good spot to grind. I can't really think of a better way to put it. But yeah, so, I'm already adverse to the idea of grinding if I'm not against the idea wholly. Otherwise I wouldn't be a fan of the Dragon Warrior game, so there's that. But yeah, I just, having to grind too much, and if you're constantly buying the newest, greatest equipment, you usually have to grind for money, and when you look at it, it's arguably not worth it. A lot of it does come down to the actual design of damage formulas and stuff like that. By the way, right now I'm just checking I mentioned the seeds, what they do, and yeah, they're actually permanent stat boosts. So, it's kind of exciting. Especially since this place is kind of littered with them. It's not like an overabundance, like just, dozens and dozens of them. But yeah, especially for this early in the game. But like I said, using those stat boosting items this early in the game can almost be considered a trap in a lot of ways. How to put it without giving too much away? I suppose the best way to just say it is that party members are not necessarily going to be permanent. Call it a day on that one. Don't want to say anything more. I feel like I'm already giving away something. I just feel like I need to see that. I think I'll pick it up later. I hope I pick it up later. And that was a real challenging enemy of this area. These mole things. Sandman. Ironic. Putting Sandman to sleep. Maybe ironic. Whatever. But yeah, this thing about the whole buying equipment thing. As I said, it's something I just started doing. I think I first really started doing it when I was playing through Tales of the Abyss on 3DS. Is like that one especially. I mean, mind you, I don't remember the Tales of Damage formula off the top of my head. But if I remember correctly, 1 or 2 points really doesn't get you a lot with that. Oh, okay. That's him with that attack is him run around, okay. But yeah. And that one, a lot of the equipment wasn't really that great.
Golden Hammer! Crash!
By the way, I could say that was a really great, like, just combo ability. Like, put most enemies to sleep, run away from the one that was about to attack the character, while another character cancels them with a special attack. That's the kind of stuff that really I like about this battle system, and the way that it kind of all comes together, and it really shouldn't have done that. I really should have had her, you know, she wouldn't have had enough time to run away anyway, so it wouldn't have made a difference. But yeah, let's talk about with the equipment. I think I started doing it really with Tales of the Abyss on 3DS. Was like, you start noticing like the stat bonuses from a lot of the weapons aren't that big of a difference. And that's where you're figuring the damage from. I mean, you're talking about a game where character stats, so at least like your base attack and defense, can very easily go into multiple hundreds, if not thousands, point-wise, and, you know, an extra 10 or 20, like, even 50 points isn't that great, and that's the most I think you get out of, like, one step up in equipment to the next. So, you spend a lot of time buying equipment that really isn't that much of an improvement. And so I just kind of started, like, okay, why bother spending all this time grinding for more powerful, to buy more powerful weapons, when I could just go, I don't know, spend the money on healing items, food items, or ingredients, I guess, would be better term for it. You know, use more things I get more use out of than, you know, a 1% increase to my damage output, or doing my attack stat, which I think the damage formula is pretty straightforward. It's like 1% increase to the damage is approximately 1% increase to your actual damage output. So yeah, it just wasn't worth money for it to actually upgrade my equipment 9 times out of 10. And I've kind of started approaching games like that just in general, because yeah, no equipment doesn't really do anything half the time. Yep, okay, I guess I didn't miss that mod. Yeah, well. And what's one stat boosting that? Not being able to miss that by 4 or 5 points close to what it could be. Anyway. Yeah, this, I really don't like this dungeon because it's not big enough for you to really get lost in, but it's open-ended enough that with the camera that they use in this game, it's very easy to feel like you're lost. Which is arguably worse than actually getting lost in an RPG, or well, in a game in general, actually. Like, when you're actually lost, there's a challenge of trying to find your way around. When you just feel like you're lost, there's really no challenge of finding your way around. You're just frustrated because you're lost without any reward for finding your way, because you never really were lost. I don't know. Anyway, I think we're getting close. Yeah, this is the second area, and I think there's a save point right at the beginning of the third area. And we're almost done here. So yeah, lots of
Stuff
random encounters.
Nightmares.
Like I said, the battles in this are probably the main draw, both gameplay-wise, obviously. I mean, the way this battle system is designed, like, everything has, like, I guess the best way to describe why I like this game's battle system is the fact that, for lack of a better way to describe it, it feels like deterministic chaos, for lack of a better word. It's kind of, and I guess chaos really might be a good word for it, or a good terming. Basically, the idea that there's so many variables that go into it, like, you could, in theory, outside of the enemy AI, determine 90% of the things here, and it's just, you know, the actions of the enemy. I mean, I think the series really did find its best point in Grandia 3 as far as the battle system, though Grandia 3's story is a complete mess, and there's a whole other issue to talk about. I mean, You don't introduce a character who's working with the bad guy but helping you out, have them be related to an important character later on, and then kill them off with nothing in between those to flesh the character out. It just, no, that is bad storytelling. Just straight out. There's nothing redeemable about that storytelling. Yeah. But there's Grandia 3. So we're not here to talk about Grandia 3. Except to say that, like I said, its battle system I think is the best. I mean, Grandia Extreme having the whole multi-character tech attack thing is kind of cool, but it doesn't really get a lot of use just because, well, to be honest, that one, the idea of a Grandia that's pretty much a dungeon crawler with like just battles after battles after battle sounds great on paper until you realize that the fight that it's like to throw at you really not all that interesting. And its battle system is probably, I would say, the most broken, but that really goes to the first game. But the first game's battle system is broken and amusing, like just completely steamroll the game without even trying, if you know what you're doing kind of way. Whereas Grandia Extreme's battle system is actually broken in a this was not designed well at all kind of way. This is not as fun. I think this one, this one I think hits kind of a nice medium spot. Just in general, it's good. I think I might have said it in one of the early videos, but really Grandia 2 is probably the best in the series, if only because of the fact that like every other entry you can point to, it's like it did this great and this horribly. This was cool, but that was completely idiotic. Like the first game. The first game, I actually think has probably it has the funnest characters. I mean, all the Grandia games, their stories are kind of, like, I guess this is probably the best story overall, but I really don't like the cast as much as, like, the first game, or not really only the first game. The other games have okay cast as well. It's probably the second best cast of the group, of the series. But the story of the first game is pretty, like, decent. I think I might have, or maybe it was talking about, no, I think it was one of the earlier videos, talking about the fact that the story just pretty much is, you know, go west, have adventure, go west. Oh wait, we're near the end of the story, we should probably like go on the end of the world scenario or something, I guess. Sure, yeah, do that, whatever. But it has enough, like, real interesting characters and, like, memorable scenes that it all works. But the battle system is a giant mess. You can tell it was their first try at doing it. And the main problem comes in the fact of, well, first of all, leveling up in the game is so broken because it uses a really interesting idea of leveling up. It just didn't bother to even try and figure out how to balance it. But then you also throw in the fact that, like, in this game you have the critical command, and it's only that and certain abilities that can cancel. In the first game, literally any critical hit had a cancel effect. And yeah, when you can, you know, level it up to the point of where, like, the enemy gets a sneak attack on you, you still act first, and, you know, you have a lot of area effect abilities, and even spells can land as critical hits. Like, there's no reason to strategize. Just throw out your most powerful multi-hit attack and just steamroll everything. And it's before, you know, realizing you can break the leveling system and make your character so stupid overpowered, like I said, you can get the first attack when the enemy sneak attacks you. Like, I don't even know how to express how insanely stupid that is. Similarly, Grandia Extreme, like I said, I like the idea of Grandia Extreme on paper, but going back and playing it a while back, it just is kind of tedious. Like, okay, Grandia, you love the battle system, a game that's pretty much just the battle system, like just the dungeons and the battle system. You don't have to worry about the story, like literally the story is, you know, non-existent out of like 3 points throughout the story. It's like, oh, then suddenly plot twist. Okay, now we're just gonna not tell you a story, we're just gonna wander through more dungeons and fight more things. And then, you know, and like each of those plot points is pretty much, oh, well, the game is, you know, now you have a reason to go back to the previous dungeon because the loot's been regenerated, the enemies have been leveled up and are now stronger, so go back and rerun those dungeons, and it's like, it's cool, it's all dungeons, it's all combat, except the way that the game handles SP is just so bad. It's like, the hard limit that they set, like everybody has 100 SP, and you start when you go into a dungeon with 0 SP, so you have to spend your first few battles I mean, you can regain SP by using normal attacks, but you're pretty much stuck just spamming normal attacks for the first few battles of each dungeon to build up to enough where you can use the specials, and even then your weakest specials are like 30 to 40 SP, so that hard cap of 100, even if you manage to max out your SP, you're not going to get a lot out of it. It just feels very poorly balanced in its economy of that, which ends up hurting the game, especially because, like I said, it introduced the idea of, well, okay, Chrono Trigger introduced the idea, and it's probably, some obscure game before that, was like, no, we did it first. But it has multi-character attacks, which work really interestingly in the Grandia formula. But we're about to get to the end of the video, so I suppose we'll pick up this discussion next time, wherein we'll continue exploring the Baked Plains. Until then, though, as always, later, folks.